Very special privilege and treat to welcome each night Shavu Banim Gvulam. Those are old Yedidim that they feel like they're coming back home. That's how they make us feel. Rabbi Fishbain soll gesund sein. All Yedid and visitors have been smeared for many, many years. Looking at Bohem Rabbi Fishbain. That might have been 10 minutes. No. Balak set out to hire Bilam as a lumbering, and he should destroy the Klal Yisrael. So he was Balak hired when the son approached Bilam that he should come in with his powers. He should destroy the Klal Yisrael. He should wish them ill. Should curse them, the Klal Yisrael. So Bilam was hesitant, and so Balak pleaded him, he shouldn't, he said, don't refrain, don't hold yourself back from coming with me. He said, you should come. And so Balak responded. He said, he says, I'll honor you greatly. So he says, if me tell me Balak, he said, if you'll shower upon me a house full of gold and silver, he says, I won't go. And the Chazal say, our sages tell us that it showed how he desired wealth from his response. If you'll give me a house full of gold and silver, from that response, he said there's an indication of what was going on, his outlook, what was going on in his thinking, in his outlook. We found also in Ovis that by Yeshiv Ben Kismi, he said he was walking in the street, and Tamar, he met someone, and he gave him shalom, he returned him shalom. So the stranger said to him, he said to him, he made a proposal to him, Yeshiv Ben Kisma. He said, perhaps, he says, you would, could you entertain the idea of moving into our community? So, and he said to him that he said, we'll reward you very heavily. He told him how they'll reward him monetarily, with riches. So Rabbi Yosef Ben Kisner responded. He said, if you give me all the diamonds, the pearls and diamonds in the world, he said, hey, I'll only will live in a svive, in an atmosphere of Torah and an atmosphere of sanctity, of Gedusha, and of Ruchnius. Here, the Chazal don't mention, they don't take this as a reflection on the Yosef Ben Kisma, what he thought, what he was thinking. He's not labeled as not Shirachov that he pursues money. Even though he said, if you give me. The difference is that by Bilam and Balak didn't offer him a price. He said, I'll give you great honor. So by him, honor, by his response, we see what he means, what honor means. Honor means only what he can put into his pockets. That's honor. That's the only thing. He's interested in one thing only: how he can load up his bank account. That's the sign that a person, money comes first, money talks. Risha and Kisma, when they approached him, they told him They said, we'll reward you heavily with precious diamonds and silver and gold. So he said, so he turned that offer that they offered him. Two people can be doing the same thing. One he'll be rewarded from heaven, from Shamayim, and he'll get Gan Eden from it. And the other, seemingly both are doing the same thing. They're going in the same direction. You see, they're doing the same thing. One, he'll be rewarded heavily, and the other one, he'll go to Gehenna. And the Vilna Gaon says, the Chazal say, that ain't being Gehenna and Gan Eden. The difference between Gehenna and Gan Eden, between going to heaven and not going to heaven, how great is the difference? Kechut HaSayre. It's just like the hair breadth, the breadth of the hair. We would say, somebody asks us, the difference between someone who, when he leaves this world, he's going to go to Gan Eden, and someone when he leaves this world, he's going to go to Gehenna. What the difference between them? So my goodness, there couldn't be anything further apart, further than from east to west, much further than that. The Rebbe says, no. He said, it can only be, the difference can be in a hair breadth, the breadth of the hair, the thickness of the hair. Two people are doing the same thing, and it looks like you both have the same, there's nothing, apparently, it's not visible to the eye that they're doing anything different. But one has kavanis, what he's doing, he's saying he's doing something for the sake and the glory of heaven, and what he's doing is for the sake, for his own sake, for selfish reasons, whatever it is. So he's doing the same, both look like they're doing the same, but one's going to earn Gan Eden, one's going to earn Gehenna. There was a Yid Beryl was living in Eretz Yisrael, and he needed some very complicated surgery. In Eretz Yisrael, they didn't have a doctor who was that qualified. So he engaged a doctor, a skilled surgeon from America, and to fly to Eretz Yisrael, and he assured him, in addition to his, of course, he had a steep fee that had to be paid, sort of like that. In addition, his fare, he assured that his fare also include that in the fee. He's going to pay him for that as well. He came Thursday, right in Eretz, performed the surgery, was successful, recovered beautifully. He paid him duly, Beryl paid the doctor duly his fee for surgery, but not the plane ticket. So the surgeon questioned him. He says, we made up that you'll pay for the plane ticket as well. So he said, I learned from my sources, that when you came here, he says, you operate on your father as well. So he says, you would certainly spend the money on your plane ticket to come to operate on your father. So I really don't owe you anything. So the doctor said, he said, what do you mean? He said, my father's condition, he says, developed only after I booked the ticket and I was on the way to Eretz Yisrael. He said, so you have to pay me because I booked the ticket to come operate on you. That my father benefited, that I didn't have to pay for a ticket. He said, that's not your affair, you're obligated to pay. Came down to Shida what to do. Is he obligated to pay the doctor for the plane ticket or not? There were two friends, Don and Naftali. Don became enraged, a big dispute right between them, became enraged at Naftali. So Naftali had a liquor store, and Don went into the liquor store and he smashed bottles and bottles of alcohol. Then he took whatever he smashed, he took and swept it up and put it into the garbage. Later, police came into the store, and they were looking for illegal alcohol that he was selling without a tax stamp on it. They couldn't find any evidence of alcohol that had and he did have alcohol that didn't have a tax stamp on it. But the Don, by smashing those bottles and throwing them into the garbage, he saved them a heavy penalty and a prison sentence. So Don claimed, he said, I don't have to pay you for anything. He said, look what I saved you. He said, if I hadn't smashed those bottles, he said, the police would have caught you red-handed with that kind of evidence. You'd have gone to jail, you had to pay a big fine. Look what I saved you. You should thank me, I shouldn't have to pay you. So they came down, Shaila there also. So Makor Chaim brings like this. He said, if something is done as a rescue mission, and later it turns out that he benefits from it as well, so then, being that it was done as a rescue mission, he doesn't have to pay for any damages that were incurred. But if he did it not as a rescue mission, only for his own benefit, or whatever reason he did it not for that, he can't say that retroactively it should take away his obligation that for damages for the hezek that he caused Naphtali. So there seems to be a similarity in these two cases. The only difference is like this. Halacha they pass like this, that by Beryl, when he engaged the doctor to fly to Eretz Yisrael and to operate on him, so at that time his father was well, and he obligated himself to pay for the doctor's plane fare. Later, when his father's condition developed, so why shouldn't he benefit from being that he's in Eretz Yisrael? Why shouldn't he benefit saving a plane fare and operating on his father? So there, that's part of the fee. There, Beryl must pay. That's the possible. Beryl has to pay the doctor for the plane fare also. Over here, by Don and Naphtali, he said, even though he went to break it in anger, but that breaking those bottles resulted in rescuing and saving Naphtali from a heavy fine of imprisonment, so he put it up to pay anything.